Was there a time where you felt like you were ready, like you wanted it?
When I got called up to the boardroom to see the chairman and say, like, you would like you to take charge for the next couple of games, and it was like, I'm nowhere near ready to do this. I remember we were playing away at Darlington one day, families in the crowd, and then it just came out. Ooh turned into hoof, and I thought that's different. We're doing something one day, and it was a phaser player. I think this is not going to go well because that player's not going to pull out because he's going to want to have a tackle. I beat Roy Keane in a tackle, and I thought, he's not going to pull out, and the ball's bounced, and he's just gone.
Does this place feel more to you like home now than the place that you were born?
Yeah, definitely. I left the club and all my family came and worked here full time.
Today's guest is someone who played over 600 times, spanning over an 18-year period. He spent 13 of those 18 years here at Lincoln, making a remarkable 469 appearances. The numbers speak for themselves, don't they? The term hoof has followed him ever since City fans will care to remember. It is, of course, the one and only Grant Brown. Grant, really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. Hoof Grant Brown, we have to start with the nickname. Yeah. A, does it ever get old? And B, where does it come from?
Never gets old. It's great to be if you're walking down the street and sometimes people shout across hoof, and it's I take it as a term of endearment. Never get sick of it. It came about, I think, I used to hear in the crowd, ooh, Grant Brown. And I remember we were playing away at Darlington one day, families in the crowd, and then it just came out, ooh turned into hoof, and I thought that's different. But then it stayed for me from then. I think it's probably early 92, 91, 92, something like that. So I've been having that name for the last 33 years. So
33 years. I mean, back then, the idea of hoofing the ball, getting the ball, winning it, and sort of getting it away was seen as a positive, which is funny how now we've come full circle and almost it's seen as a negative within professional football. How do you think you would have coped with playing now?
I think we'd have adapted. I think that's the thing is if you're training every day in, day out, doing that sort of playing out from the back and that you adapt to it and you get used to doing it. We were asked to do certain things. We were asked to defend. We were asked to head it, clear it. The better players stood out. I mean, the ones that could play. Matt Carbon came at a time and he played centre back at times, and he played out. And but most of us just, we were told, don't mess about with it, get it cleared. Whether it's over the stand, if it's wherever it is, just get it cleared. If it stays in play, it's a bonus.
And Matt was unbelievable for you, wasn't he? He was one of the players that you most enjoyed, I think, playing with, really.
Matt Carbon was a good player. He was a young lad. We played him up front at times, and but he settled into a centre back role, and he was a good player. I still see him now. So he has a part of an academy, and still see him. He's still the same lad. You bump into people, and he hasn't changed. Might put on a couple of pounds, but haven't we all? So
we'll come on to your academy shortly as well. But just sticking with the sort of direct football theme, do you think there's a room for that in the game now? We've just seen, at the start of last season, of course, Luton are now in the Premier League, certainly at the time of recording. But not many teams go down the direct route. Do you ever think we'll be at a point where teams see direct football as a positive again?
I think the game evolves all the time. It changes, so you'll have bits where it's running with the ball, white wingers who double pass players, and you have bits where now it's playing out of the back of total football. The amount of goals that get conceded from that is would question whether they should stick with it. But I think it'll evolve. I think it'll mix it up a little bit. You'll see success from teams that go long, that play direct, because other teams are not used to playing against it. And if you've got the right personnel in the right positions and the players that will play those balls, those passes, because some players now, I'm not going to play that pass. That's not me. I don't do that. But Luton had success with it. I think the Championship teams get success. It'll be interesting to see how Luton cope and whether they change, evolve a little bit, or whether they do the same thing. If they do the same thing, they might struggle, because centre halves now in the Premier League are 6'4", 6'5", and you know they're big lads, and they can deal with the direct play, and I think they can and they can play as well. So be interesting.
Now, you've lived in this city for over 30 years, but of course, born in Sunderland. 30 years is a long time, isn't it? Does this place feel more to you like home now than the place that you were born?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've lived more of my life here than I have anywhere else. So I'm an adopted Lincolnian. So family are all my wife's side of the family are all from here. So yeah, I'm very settled in Lincoln. I can't see myself going back up to the northeast. I go up to see my brother and family, but just as a visit.
No, I'm pretty rubbish with numbers, but by my reckoning, it was 4 times you were a caretaker manager at this club. Is that right? I'm sure it was at least 4.
Yeah,
was it
3. I think it was.
Was it 3?
Oh, I think it was 3, 2 or 3. God.
Right, someone needs to update that Wikipedia page then.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah,
but either way, 3. Not many people get the opportunity of being a caretaker manager 3 times. I mean, that must be not necessarily a record across football, but it must run a lot of people close. For you, what were those times like? Sort of stepping into the fray and being, having all eyes on you, particularly at this stadium. How did you find that?
The first time it was after John Schofield left, and he was a big mate of mine or is a good friend of mine, and it was very reluctant. I was nowhere near ready to take the reins for the team. I think I'd been coaching for about a year, and so I wasn't ready for him. So and I felt really bad for John, because he'd done remarkable the season before. The team had been brilliant. I think they got beaten in the playoffs, and then the following season, a few injuries and a few. Obviously, the results hadn't gone well. You don't lose your job unless the results weren't going well. But
it
the
felt
atmosphere,
like a hangover, didn't it?
Yeah, it just never got going again after that the playoff defeat, and it just didn't happen for the team. So he moved, and I didn't really. When I got called up to the boardroom to see the chairman and say, like, you would like you to take charge for the next couple of games, and it was like, don't really want to. I feel sorry. I feel bad for my mate, and I'm nowhere near ready to do this. And but the group of players that were there were all good players. Steve Stallard,
Mark Stallard, Jamie Forrest.
Mark Stallard, sorry, Jamie Stallard, yeah, Steve Stallard, somebody else. Jamie Forrester, I think Alan Marriott was in goal. Yeah. So they were all good lads. Lee Beavers, I think, was around at the time, and all good lads, all good pros. So to sort of like be in charge of them, but not necessarily they could manage themselves. They were experienced pros. So we just put a team out to do it. First game, we were at home against Peterborough, who were flying top of the league, and we took the lead, and we held on until about the 89th minute. And conceded a goal, which would have been, which was coming, to be fair, but it was disappointing when you lose, when you concede later on. And then we went to Brentford and defended. They were another team that was up there. Terry Butcher was their manager, and we defended for 90 minutes, and unfortunately conceded with about 20 minutes to go, 25 minutes to go, and couldn't get it back.
Like you say, there were a lot of pros in that team, a lot of very good footballers, weren't they? Do you think was it a slight element then of what we call now, I suppose, imposter syndrome, in terms of the fact that you were the man, certainly from what you were saying there, that had to take charge of these lads, and it seems like you're saying that they felt like they didn't need necessarily someone to come in and tell them what to do. Is that
I don't know whether that's the case. I think it was more that they were experienced pros that could self-manage. Play. So you went there, you picked the team. There was no interference from the players on that side. There was no one of them saying, "I'm not playing now. I'm going to go and play. I'm going to play right wing or whatever. I'm not going to." There was none of that. They took the guidance, and we changed shape a little bit, and they took that on board. But they didn't need that much coaching. They just they were a good group. They just come on a bit of. They were just on a bad run.
Was there a time then, because you mentioned just then that you said you didn't feel like you were ready? Was there a time in any of those 2, 3, or even 4, depending on what the numbers say?
Yeah.
Was there a time where you felt like you were ready, like you wanted it?
Yeah, there was once when I think we were in the National League. Then I think it was after Steve Thompson left, and there was a good group. Another good group. We've always had good groups of lads, and we had a decent little. I think I took them for about 4 games. Fortunately, results weren't great, but performances were good. And they won the first game at Alfreton, and we just came on. We had, I think it was Cambridge away on a Friday night. Got done by a free kick. We played well. We created chances, and unfortunately couldn't put them away. And I think Jez was in charge of Cambridge at the time, and he said, he come after the game and said, your lads didn't have to put a shift in for you there, and you were the least, I wouldn't say the better team, but he said, well, you deserve more out of the game than what you got, and so that fills you with confidence. The lads are playing for you.
And fans were calling for you at the time as well. There was a lot of people at the time saying, "Give it to Grant. He deserves his opportunity, and B, it seems like it's working." Okay, a short space of time that you had to deal with it, but there were certainly, murmurings from the fans saying, "Give it to Grant." Did you feel that support from them as well?
Yeah, it was all positive. Even in after the Cambridge game, the fans were positive. There wasn't so much social media back then, I don't think, but that's like it is now. But yeah, it was positive, and I felt as though it was good. We had the next game though. We got a bit unstuck. We played at home against Jamie Vardy playing, and he scored a few, 2 or 3 against us, and we ended up. It was like I think it was live on Sky, and we got beat about 3 or 4 at home, which is never a good. So you sort of think then that it might not happen, and then there was interviews, and David Allsworth got a job. And as it turned out, David had to turn around a load of players. There was a lot of players that had been on decent money in playing in the Football League, and obviously now we've dropped down. We're in the National League. There was a big changeover with wage structures and stuff like that. So he'd had to come in. I think his remit was that to change the squad around. Should cut the budget, get players out, get players in, and he had the contacts to be able to do that, and he got appointed.
We are racing through this, by the way, so I want to get on to your coaching, because I'm right in saying you've done your A license. You did it at Lithershall. Can't even speak. Lithershall. Have I pronounced that right? Lithershall, isn't it? Yeah. What was that process like? I believe Roy Keane was there at the time. Did you spend any time with Roy? Any dealings with him? What was he like? Just tell us a little bit about the overall process, because it seems to be quite a laborious one. There seems to be a lot of things you've got to cover. Yeah,
we were there for it took you the year to do it. We did 2 weeks straight down at Lillishall, and did your work, and then came back, put into practice what you'd been taught, and then went back for the more learning and final assessment. But Roy was on the first one. He was just about to take the Sunderland job, and so he'd come on. He was a bit surprised because the way they used to do a one for ex-pros or for pros to do the license, and then like a public one. So there was two A license camps went on in the summer, and I was a bit surprised that Roy hadn't gone on the first one. But I think he was just finishing playing or just finished playing. Obviously got the Sunderland job, but you needed to have a license qualification to get the job, I think, at the time. So he was on the course, and he was a good lad, a really good lad. We doing because it was like people, the general public out there. they were coming in doing the not just general, but like coaching, but not like they played the game. And he so you get the lads that they would come up, and you can tell them a mile off. They've got the socks pulled up, and they've got the shin pads on for a training session. Where if it's players we just wouldn't bother wear shin pads, wouldn't bother, just white tennis socks sort of thing. That's what you wear. And so he did that. So you always you sort of like clock them, and he'd clocked it. And we're doing something one day, and it was a phaser player, and the ball's bouncing. Now if it's two pros, that, so you both pull out the tackle. But I think the ball's bouncing. It's Roy, and it's somebody else. One of the one for, on the course, and I think this is not going to go well because that player's not going to pull out because he's going to want to have a tackle. I beat Roy Keane in a tackle, and I thought Roy's not going to pull out, and the ball's bouncing. He's just took the ball clearly, but took the lad out, and I think everybody from then on thought, yeah, don't mess with Roy.
And the lad never coached again.
He coached, but he didn't go to 50-50s with Roy. Roy got a bit of a free run with things then, but he was a good lad. Great we would go out. He would drive us. He would have a Coke or something like that, and they'd leave it there. We'd have a couple of beers, and he'd take us back. And he was just one of the lads. He didn't come across as being anything other than another guy.
Yeah. Is it a long process getting those badges, and is it a fair process? Because from the people that I speak to, and whether you listen to podcasts or see people speaking on the TV or whatever, there seems to be a reoccurring theme that there's a lot that goes into it, and you don't necessarily get quite as much out of it as the amount you put in all of the time, and that's both financially it can be, but also time wise. Is football in this country encouraging young coaches enough?
Good question, but I think the way that the A licence structured now is a lot better. Shane, who I work with, has just completed his A licence, Shane Clark, and by talking to him and see what he has to do to have passed his A licence, the challenges, the stuff, it's far more advanced now than what it ever used to be. I think it is geared towards the ex-players, but then also you've got the pro license that goes beyond that to the next stage, which is a longer drawn out process, I think. But no, I think it's improved now. You don't go away for 2 weeks now. It's ongoing. You have club visits to watching to check that you practice. You're doing what you are taught to do on those get-togethers, and there's a lot more stuff, a lot more presentations where we never had to stand up in front of the group and speak. They have to do presentations to group presentations, as if you were running a club, as if you were manager, coaching of a club, how you would structure things.
You mentioned Shane Clark there. I want to ask about him and Jack Hobbs, because they're now working with you at the FCV Academy.
FCV International Football Academy.
FCV International Football Academy. Talk to me a little bit about that, and then we'll come back slightly onto both playing career, and there's a few little things I want to touch on with your coaching career again. So, tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so when I left Lincoln as a coach, I was out walking the dog one day and bumped into an old ex-teammate, Steve Welsh, who had seen that I was out of work, and he said, I see that FCV are looking for a coach. And he said, I said, what they're like? And he said, well, he used to go down there and work on a Saturday on a weekend down there. He said, they're good, yeah, it's good setup, everything. He said, based in Stamford, it's not far away. And so he said, I'll give you the details to have the job. So I applied for the job, got the job. Anyway, what we are is boys from all over the world, literally all over the world, will come over, mainly to do BTEC for education, but there's also, we got some good lads who actually probably would have been in the system over here, in the academy system over here, if they lived in this country, but they come from countries that don't don't provide that service. So we've got a lot of Nigerian kids, got Australians. We do have European ones. We have South Americans. So literally all over the world they'll come, and we got some good players. We got some good lads that we do our best to get out to clubs here, whether that's on trial or we just had one boy that went to Wayne Rooney's club in America, Dallas.
Dallas. United. Dallas. I want to say Dallas Cowboys.
DC?
Yeah, DC United. Yeah,
DC United. That's it. That's it. DC United on Dallas. And so boy went over there for a week's trial. So the standard of play we get is can be good, but also we have ones that are just learn the game. They back at home. All they've had is like a cage or a 6-a-side pitch to play on, and never played 11-a-side before. So they come over mainly for education, but to play football as well and try and improve. But knowing that there's career in football's probably not going to happen for them. But they want to enjoy themselves. So we'd have a balance between like like elite players or our elite players, not and I'd like development players that come for more recreational stuff.
Brilliant stuff. Listen, I got a list of topics that I had, and we had you talking about coaching, and then we veered off slightly. My fault. I want to go back to around about 2011. So the club is relegated. For you, with this club in your heart and what you know of it, what did it feel like for you? Just how bad was it around that time?
I don't think you realise at the time what the implications of getting relegated. It's like it happened to other clubs. I know it had happened to Lincoln before, but that was a different situation. And until the true implications happened about how it affected so many people's jobs, the funding, the way it works for the academy was, we had to cut back. You got half money for the first 2 years, and then the money stopped. We had to keep it going. Chris Moyes, he helped the academy keep it going with the investment that he gave in, which was a big help. Kept us going certainly for those 2 years, and so it's later on you look back and you think, God, this is how bad it is. But at the time, it was like sad because you're gutted you're getting relegated, but you don't truly know the implications until it actually happens, and you learn to instead of going to football league clubs, no disrespect at all to the clubs, you're going to lesser clubs, and sometimes they're beating you because they've got good players. And just because like the size of the club is smaller, than that doesn't mean that you've got a divine right to go win football matches. It's a tough league to get. The National League, as any team that gets relegated from the league will find that it's a really tough. There's some good teams in there that play to their strengths and have got some really good players. So it was an eye opener to see us in that league and to see us getting beat against some of the teams that we and the fans would expect to beat comfortably, but we didn't because they were good teams.
Genuinely concerning at the time that this club financially could. I mean, we know that it was in a spot of bother, but that could actually drop down even further, because we've seen it with many other clubs that are on a similar size to this one.
Yeah, I think more you see it more now that what I'm doing. Like I'm with Darlington. Darlington dropped out of the league before us, and they did go out of existence, and they were hopefully on the climbing the leagues again now. But yeah, it was. I think there was an interview I saw after the game. I think it was from the chairman, from Bob, and he was very honest with the fans and he came out and said it's going to be tough to get us back in the league. We haven't got lots of money to throw at it to get back in the league. He was being honest, but I think at the time probably the fans needed to hear a fight that was going to happen. We're going to do all efforts to get back in the league at the first go. But he was just being really honest and said, the club hasn't got the finances to do that. We might find ourselves in this league in a few years.
Yeah, and then 5 years on from the 2011 relegation, you and Chris leave at the same time. Am I right in saying?
Yeah,
Was
we
that-
left. We left at the same time. Just Clive came on board. He had his ideas. He wanted to bring Nicky and Danny in, and can't really say it went wrong, did I? It went a bad decision, but that's football. These things happen, and it turned out it was a good decision for the club. So
and you were still coming as a fan anyway, and still working with the club, still enjoying everything that had the fruits of that labour, if you like.
Yeah, I think I left the club and all my family came and worked here full time. Jordan came. My daughter was working on match days, hospitality, and not match days in the office. My wife was she'd started to work full time, I think, or more regularly anyway. Might not being full time, and so I left and they all jumped in. So there's always a Brown here.
Listen, we're about half an hour in and we've not even talked about your playing days yet. So take me back to what it was like when you first signed that pro contract. And am I right in saying that you lived with a certain Steve Thompson for a while? And if so, what was that like? Could you get a word in edgeways?
No, Tomo would like to talk. But I mean, I signed my first pro contract when I was at Leicester, and I came here on loan I think I signed my first pro contract in '87, and came here and originally on loan, and then I think it was January the 1st was I signed as a pro here. But I came, and Tomo and Julie were good enough to let me stay in their spare room, and it was fun.
A lesson in life and football.
Yeah, in equal measures. Yeah. Tomo was coming towards the end of his playing days, and but was a really good playing partner to play next to, because he would. Back in those days, it was big man, little man. So you had a big centre forward and a little centre forward. I was quite mobile and relatively quick back then. And Tomo would take care of the big one, and I would take care of the little one running off him. So we were quite a good partnership. And I won't go into. We used to go on the ferry boat in Washington, because he lives in Washington, and quite a few of the only obviously never before a game. Never. It was back in the day. You had on your contract. It was, I don't know if it's still the same, but on the contract, you're not allowed to be in unlicensed premises 48 hours before.
I was written into the contract.
It was written in the contracts. You used to, even 48 hours before a fixture. So we never did that. But if we didn't have a midweek game, we'd maybe have a couple of beers on a Monday, and we used to go and watch the reserves play. The reserves used to play on the main pitch on a Monday afternoon. So they would come in the morning and train, and not do a light session. Then they'd go to get something to eat. We also used to go to the Rip and Arms, so just around the corner there, and they would have like an orange juice or whatever and something to eat, and then they'd come back and play. We'd have a couple of beers, come watch the game, and then maybe have a couple of beers after with the game with the lads, and then we might go to the ferry boat, and then we'd end up going back to Tomo's. But that was alright for Tomo, because he didn't really train. Certainly the first part of the week, knees injuries and all that sort of stuff. But so we'd have a few beers. He would just have a nice day the next day, like just doing a few weights and a few sit-ups and that sort of thing. And I was having to go out and run around back then. But you could do it back then. I think when I was 19, you could run around and do those things. But Tom was good. Tom learned a lot from Tomo as a player, and they looked after it. Julie's great. Still is. Still see them, and it's they were good people to look after you.
So he was one of the key influences for you. Who else, particularly around this club, was someone that you looked to either as a mentor, as a bit of inspiration, or as an influencer?
Murph signed me, so he was a disciplinarian, but he was funny as well. So he was good. John Pickering, who sadly is no longer with us, who was a really good, excellent coach, and made training sessions. You learned from them, but they were fun as well. so that they were good people to have around. Scoey, we had a nice group of lads. We almost seemed like we had somebody lived in Manchester, some lads lived in Sheffield. So and there was only a few of us that were based in Lincoln. So, but it was good. It was a good place to be. The lads would come in. Nobody was ever late. We'd train hard together, and we'd go off and do our own thing, sort of thing. But it was good. Murphy he always created, a camaraderie. He wanted the camaraderie around the players and in the dressing room, and we had a pretty good season. We just missed out on the playoffs that year, and Colin left, and Tomo took over. I think it was Alan Clark took over from him. He fortunately didn't quite work out for him, and Tomo took over probably I think it was before Christmas. Tomo was then the manager, and he was good to work for, really good to work for.
And then if we fast forward to 1998, the success comes.
Yes.
Back in the Football League.
Yeah.
Champions.
Yeah. Well,
the pinnacle of your career.
Yeah, it's always when you're successful. My season didn't start until the February. I'd been injured. I'd had problems with my pelvis and groin area, and I did to say I missed most of the first part of the season. John Beck was manager at that time, and I would go and see him and say, "Look, I'm out of contract at the end of the season. Can I go out on loan? Can I play some games?" Because I said that the team's doing well. You're not going to change the structure, the way the players, the lads in the team. And he said no. He said, "You're not going out anywhere." He said, "I'll need you before the end of the season." And I said, "But I'm out of contract." He said, "Don't care." He says, "It's you're contracted to us. You'll stay here." I thought, fair enough. One, it's like you could look at it being selfish on his behalf, but then you think, well, maybe I've still got a part to play. And
was there any? Sorry to interrupt. Was there any point in that time where you're thinking, okay, well, if I come back and we do well and we go up or whatever, and I play well, then I can get a contract at the club and stay here?
That was always my aim. I'd been here for 7 years previously, so it was 7 or 8 years. So it was always I never wanted to really leave, both for football reasons, but also for family. Family was settled. Like I say, my Jordan was born. My wife was pregnant with Amelia, so it made more sense for me to stay here. But if you've not got a contract, then you can't stay here. But it worked out well. We played. I got back in the team, I say mid-February, and just about stuck into it till the end, for the rest of the season.
And then the promotion party that followed.
Yeah,
where are we talking? Iron Apple?
I didn't think I went. The boys went to Iron Apple because they used to go to Iron Apple. For some reason, I think it's maybe, I don't want to say it's because my wife was pregnant. I don't know what it was. I didn't go. I didn't go that year.
Is this the story? You didn't go.
I didn't go. I didn't go. We used to save money each week. They would just take money out of wages and put it to one side, and so we had some money to go on holiday with. And for I think, I don't know what was that. I don't know why I didn't go, but that year I didn't go. I'd been previous years and had a good time, enjoyed it. Was
it always Iron Napa, or was it a different?
No, it was always Iron Napa. And I think a few of the lads, even when they left clubs and gone, they always went back to Iron Napa as a like about 5 or 6 of them. They used to go back there. So we always had a great time. It was brilliant. I mean, it was probably just at the start where everybody used to go to Magaluf, and some of the lads said, "Oh, we'll go to Iron Napa." It was John Beckett introduced it because he said when he came in when he first got the job, he came and said, "Right, if we stay up, we'll go away at the end of the season," and it galvanized us. We just it gave us a reason, not just personal reasons, but gave us a target there to aim for. If we got that, we've got something to look forward to at the end of the season, and we did that. Stayed up that season, and then 2 years later or a year later, we were getting promotion.
But you need that, don't you? You need something to aim at other than just on the pitch. And you need, if we look at Jack Grealish off the back of last season, you know, plenty of people had a lot to say about his, you know, quote unquote antics, if you like. But he was the first to say, come on, I've been playing for 11 months now. You, when you were a player, were probably playing for at least 9.5, 10 months at a time.
Months, yeah.
You need that break, don't you?
Of course you do. He's not going to do any. I mean, I think I watched some of the stuff on YouTube and I thought it was brilliant. I thought he enjoyed himself. And that's what what life's about. It's what football's about. You've got to enjoy it, but you've got to enjoy what you do. You can be serious all the time, but there's got to be a time when, you know, you've won the treble. Why can't you celebrate winning the treble? You should always celebrate winning things, being successful. And he gets too much criticism for my liking, but his performances on the pitch. Last season he might have deserved it because his performances were a bit up and down. But his performances this year have been fantastic.
I'm going to chuck a couple of questions at you. We might have already covered them already, but toughest moment at the club, whether it was part of the coaching staff, whether it's part as a player, and your best moment, or if it is the promotion, tell us a couple of other top moments that stick out.
Toughest moments, when you get beat. The game I spoke about earlier, that was quite tough. The one we got beat at home on I think it was a Friday night. It was where was it? Would it be Fleetwood Vardy used to play for? Yeah, it was Fleetwood that beat us comfortably. That was tough. I've had a couple of games where we got beat 7-1. Played away at Colchester, got beat 7-1 away at Bury. They were tough because we knew the manager wanted us to play a certain way, whether we're winning 1-0, losing 1-0, losing 3-0, winning 3-0. We had to play the same way. So high tempo playing, and it was like we weren't going to win the games. In my thought, we should have shut up shop and just keep it at 4. But we know we had to keep going quick. We kept conceding goals. So 2 7-1s were tough to take. Best bits, obviously, you said promotion. You work all season to get promotion. That's a target at the beginning of the season. We did that. But the cup run we had a year previously, I think it was, when we went and beat Man City. That was memorable. The Man City weren't the club they are now, but it's still a big scalp, massive scalp for us. And playing down at Southampton, taking Southampton to a replay and only getting beaten here by a dubious penalty decision.
Interesting. If we move it on forward now, of course, I believe you're a bit of a golf obsessee. What
Are you speaking to my wife?
Well, your son.
Yeah.
Tell us what handicap, how competitive are you a player?
My handicap's 8.5, which is okay, but not the best in the family because my brother plays off about 2, so that's gut-wrenching. Am I competitive? Yes. Do I get frustrated? Very often as well. But yeah, I love it. It's that's what I can keep competitive with. I'm a very competitive person. I want to win in everything I do, but and golf allows me to challenge other people that you either know or you don't know that to a game of sport and keep playing. And so I love that. We go away on holidays, golf and trips. So we just come back from a couple of weeks ago from Gran Canaria, which is fantastic, with my brother and my cousin and a mate. So hoping that Jordan will come and join us on one of those ones because he's just taken up the game.
But did you beat your brother in Gran Canaria?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. We didn't. We normally go to Scotland, and it's nip and tuck through there. We've all had my brother, my cousin, and myself have won up there before, and we sort of like it was less. We didn't keep scores as well as what we should have done. Might have been something to do with a few beers the night before, but it was the place was brilliant when we went to.
Always blame it on the beers. Grant, listen, we could talk all day. We've been going for over 40 minutes, so we'll wrap this one up. Really appreciate your time. Thanks very much for joining us on the podcast.
Sam. Nice talking to you, mate.